I'd like to call the Board of Works to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Scott, would you start us off?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nina, would you please do the roll call? Here.
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 We have the approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve minutes.
I'll second the motion.
We have motion and a second to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion, changes? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have McCullough Industries under unfinished business. Is someone here? Yes. Oh, please come forward. Sure. You can come to the podium there or right here. Okay. Either mic works.
Hello.
Hi. Hi. So do you want to kind of explain what you do, what you're asking for?
Sure. We have a mobile food truck. It's called Smoke on the Water. And my husband, who does most of the cooking and stuff, he had talked to Ace Hardware over here on the corner, and they had offered for us to put the mobile truck there a day or two a week to sell food out of there. We're already licensed with Porter County Health Department and have done festivals and things like that and stay in close contact with them. So it's just a matter of being approved from Portage, the town of Portage, to be out there to sell.
So will you be taking up parking spaces?
In the corner there, the food truck probably takes 3 or 4 parking spaces to park the truck there. Yes.
I know at this point in time, there is a vacant building that is just east of Ace Hardware that used to be the carpet store.
Yes.
So when do you plan on starting doing this?
Well, once we're approved, he would probably start within the next couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Dan, do we have anything that would prohibit them? I know we do have other food trucks operating on private properties in the city.
I don't think so, Mayor. I mean, if she's been approved by the health department, that was usually our big stumbling block questions that we needed answered before we move forward.
Would we need to get a copy of their liability insurance? Would that be advantageous?
We could certainly bring, I'm sorry, we could certainly bring that in. We've got a $1 million policy for E&O insurance and insurance for that. We could definitely bring something in here for you guys.
Yeah, and the equation's different if they're operating on private property as opposed to wanting to set up a truck on public property.
Okay.
So it's a different question and answer session. But certainly that wouldn't hurt to have that.
Okay.
And could you get us a copy? You got something from the health department, you said?
Yes, yeah, we're licensed with the health
Could
department.
you provide that as well?
Of course,
Great,
yes.
thank you.
I'll make a motion that we approve the solicitor's permit for McCullough Industries to have their food truck Smoke on the Water at Ace Hardware on Central and Willow Creek.
I second that motion.
We have motion and a second. Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We'll be ready to test you out there.
Wonderful.
Sounds good.
Yes, and do you want us to drop that off this week, the insurance and?
Yeah, you can
Yes.
just drop it off at the clerk treasurer's office. They will take care
Okay,
of that.
I'll bring
for
it
you.
in tomorrow if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We have new business. We have a special event request. I would like to have a motion to table that at this time. It's not till September, so I have a couple of questions.
Motion to table is this the Parks one, Mayor? The Bacon Fest? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Motion to table the special event request for Bacon Fest.
I second that motion.
We have motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We have the contract renewal for Abbenmarsh.
I
Dan,
look-
have you seen that? Okay.
I have, Madam Mayor. I've looked it over. It looked good to me, and I sent it back indicating it was fine.
Can we talk about it?
Absolutely.
So the $1,700 a month for the consultation, is that just to attend, is it every plan commission meeting?
Yes, they do.
About what do we pay them a year? It
And I
just doesn't
think-
give any kind of estimate or itemized, I'm just asking.
Yeah, and I think our plan commission requires that we have an engineer on the commission.
And we're supposed to by statute anyway, so.
I guess it wouldn't be able to, the reviews and engineer for other projects too, not just like a regular.
Right, I see that.
So I guess it wouldn't be I can pull it and see what we paid from the other day, but it wouldn't be.
I just wanted to.
Yes, they do other things for the Department of Community Development. They're on call to us for a myriad of things that we do throughout the year.
So is this the same amount as last year's?
I believe it is.
Me too. I have it somewhere. I think it is, but I looked at that before, but I don't have it readily available from last year.
I can't get the.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the contract for Evan Marsh for 2023.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Jamie, I'm sure that Nina can get that to you once. Yeah.
And usually there's somebody here so we can ask them.
Yeah. We have the contract renewal for Samuelson Insurance. Hi, James.
Morning, Jamie.
Good morning.
So this is our contract for, it used to be called the self-insured contract because the city of Portage was historically self-insured on the auto insurance. We had no insurance policy. So I would handle 100% of the claims for any of our police vehicles or any city vehicle. Same with liability claims, reach out to the other party, get them in a rental car, go work with the body shop, get salvage values, all that good stuff. A few years back, we did get an auto insurance policy for the city, but it's basically a catastrophic policy. So we carry a high deductible on that, meaning for any of our vehicles where we do have physical damage, the lowest deductibles we have is $5,000 a piece, and that was to keep the cost down. On a lot of them, we don't have physical damage on our own vehicles, so it's handled internally, self-insured by me. But with this contract, it kind of spells out more about what I actually do, and it's stuff that I've always done for the city. And it wasn't in the contract, I just did it because it was kind of like a service. I thought it was easier for me to handle than it would be for the city to hire an employee to do. So like one of the main things is we have 500 and some street lights and stoplights and things like that in the city that aren't insured. But they get damaged quite frequently. So this past year, I was able to collect over $65,000 from other parties to just on streetlights alone. But every time there is an accident involving one of our vehicles, which is a few times a month, or property damage, for instance, like a guardrail that we have that gets hit, I handle every claim for the city that comes through. Same thing with liability. We had one recently, small, but it was an incident at the park that happened with a vehicle and their car getting damaged because of something that was technically the city's responsibility. So I meet with that person, negotiate, get the proper receipts, and then get a sign off from that person and create a packet for the city that it's extremely detailed and spelled out. So before a check comes out of the city, they have everything they need, so the clerk treasurer's office is able to process that payment. And it also kind of creates a checks and balances, so with the police department, they're probably the most active because they have the most vehicles and they're involved in the most, strenuous type pursuits and things like that. So I work directly with them on every claim with our city vehicles and go through, negotiate the price with the shops and things like that and make sure that the city is getting a fair price. And then ultimately before they get the vehicle repaired, I make sure everything's in order and yep, this is legit, it is a claim, and then it gets sent over to the clerk treasurer's office to approve. So.
It's good to know that you're being that thorough, seriously. We appreciate that very much.
Madam Mayor, and I did speak with James. There's one slight change that I asked him to make to the proposed contract, which he's graciously done, and so with that change, I recommend approval. The one thing that we took out was the auto renewal language. I've been pretty consistent on wanting those out of the contracts for the city, so James was good enough to take it right out?
Yeah, absolutely, and I have no problem with that. It was more of a laziness thing, so that way if I forget to say that we have a contract renewal language.
I'll make a motion, we approve the contract for insurance services to Samuelson Insurance.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank
You
you.
do a great job for us. Thank you so much.
Thanks, James.
Well, thank you guys.
We have the pet shop license renewal. We did have a question on that because every year the pet shops pay a licensing fee to the city, but Pet Supplies did pay their fee, but they did not fill out the application form. So I'd like to approve it based on the fact that we've received the application money, but they didn't complete the application. So we'll send them that, and if that's okay, Dan, that we do that.
I think that's fine, Madam Mayor. I might also put, since there's nobody here from the police department, I don't know if it's been inspected, if the animal control has gone through pursuant to the ordinance, I would also make any motion contingent upon a successful inspection by the police department.
I guess I would also raise some questions of how enforced our policy is. There's more than one pet shop in the city, so we don't have any other applications on file.
I think Diane said we had 3, and I think one has.
Okay.
She was up in my office this morning, said there was another one that had, but the third one hadn't, so I don't know if you send them notices
Right.
or,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, and the ordinance requires them to be current, that's a good point, Nina. The ordinance requires them to be current on forms as well, and subject to inspections and all those sorts of things. We can go through and make sure they're all up to snuff, but, so I don't know if the board wants to approve this with those contingencies, table it, whatever you guys are inclined to do, but.
So we have 3 pet supply stores in town. We have this one. Is it the Petco is the one on 6?
Right.
And what's the third one?
The furry babies one.
Okay. So Petco and Pet Supply Plus, they don't sell animals. They just sell supplies and provide grooming.
I think they
service.
sell fish, but
Petco sells fish.
Well, they also have, I think they have cats in the one far part of the building.
Okay.
That's-
they sell cats?
I think they have cats in
wow.
there that you can
All
adopt
right.
At Petco?
at Petco. They did at one time.
I'm going to make a motion to table all 3 of these renewals for the 3 pet stores in question. I'd like to hear from the representatives from those businesses, if we have any questions that we need to ask them directly. So I'd ask them to attend the first meeting in January to be able to address this board.
So will the clerk treasurer's office notify them, Nina? Okay.
We'll notify all 3 to attend.
Yes, please.
I second that motion.
We have motion and a second to table. Item 4, under new business. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We have bulk item appeals 5782 Houston. Darren?
Madam Mayor.
How you doing, Darren? You feeling better?
I'm feeling a lot better. Took a couple
The
of
ice
good falls,
took,
but
the ice attacked Darren.
had to train the guys. You know, you could train them all you want on dry pavement, but once it's so, yeah. So I was out there training them. I wanted to get out of the way, and my feet went out from underneath me twice. As soon as I got back up, went down again. So it is what it is. It didn't feel good. Had a lot of layers of clothes though, so that helped. That did help. We just went and got checked out, so I'm all good. You know. So yes, 5782 Houston Avenue. We had the wrong address on there, so we would like to reverse this. Pictures are 1,000 words. We got the 2 pictures of the 2 different houses, which you can see, you know, tree in the middle of one yard with a flagpole. You know, those aren't there, so it was a wrong house. So we'd like to reverse. It showed for an estimate of over $65, but we'd like to go ahead and reverse that.
So will you build the correct house then?
That we can't do, because this was back in October.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, pictures are 1,000 words, but, you know, sometimes you get the mailboxes next to each other, they'll be across the street. Somebody may get the wrong one, so, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bulk item appeal for 5782 Houston in the amount of $65.
I second.
We have motion and a second. Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Darren.
Thank you.
Be careful out there.
Oh, yeah.
The ice is still there, I'm sorry to say. Okay, we have the claims.
So there's a few on there for some legal fees through the insurance. We have multiple lawsuits being handled by insurance defense. We have deductible of $25,000. we're inching our way toward a deductible on a couple of those. If you guys are ever curious about an update of the litigation, I'm certainly happy to chat with you one-on-one or to have an executive session to bring you up to speed on those. But the ones that you're seeing on there are being handled by insurance defense for the most part.
I make a motion to approve the claims as presented. In the amount of $314,835.30.
Scott, I believe that number has been changed. Diane had to add the Wex Bank ones on this morning. Nina can explain the Wex Bank.
We have an issue over with the snowstorm. We had to increase our credit limit on our Wex cards because of the gas prices. We had already submitted payment. They hadn't posted it yet, but we had to make an online payment in order for the plows to get gas over the snowstorm over Christmas.
So that amount now is $346,835.30. Would you like me to pass this down, Scott, so you can see it?
No, that's good. That's okay, ma'am.
There are 4 charges for Wex Bank for $8,000, so that's $32,000 added on for the Wex Bank charges.
All right, I'll amend my motion to include the additional WEX payments, and it brings the total of the claims to $346,835.30.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any further questions on the claims?
I have one question. Hey, Dan, the lawsuit you were mentioning, is that what's under miscellaneous for the
What page are you
$2,000
on,
payment?
Jamie?
I'm on page 4.
No, the ones I was talking about are the ones that are under interlocal governmental insurance. Those 3 there's one that's pretty substantial for 9,100, that's several cases. There's another couple that are smaller. So there's multiple cases involved in those. The miscellaneous would be the litigation that I'm working on. The stuff that I'm working on that's not insured.
So it's all not one, it's just the things we can't itemize.
But again, if you guys if you want me to have an executive session with you, can you bring you up to speed on litigation? Probably not a terrible idea at some point early on next year. I'll probably do the same with the city council, so you guys know at least what's pending out there and where we're at. There's a couple of them that are pretty big. I blame our insurance agent, by the way.
Everybody went under?
Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Attorney Whitten, we have the major illness claims.
Yes, we do, Madam Mayor. So there are 4 that I have signed off on, and I would recommend the board approve those 4 major illness. There are no COVID leave at this time.
I'll make a motion, we approve the 4 cases.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any other business to come before this board today? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Thank you, everyone.